All right, you guys. Big night to cover last night in the UFC. I already recorded this video once, rewatched it, and there was no audio, so I have to redo the whole thing. Great way to kick off my Sunday, as you could expect. But I'm gonna just get right into it of the main card because I'm a little salty. First fight on the main card, we had Thiago Santos versus Alexander Rakic. A fight that I was pretty excited for on paper, and when it came to fruition, it was just not what we expected. A very, very pedestrian fight for both of them, very cautious. And I get that for Thiago Santos because that man is 38 years old, had surgery on both knees. He's not the fighter he used to be, so I understand that from him. But Alexander Rakic was in a position to make a name for himself by beating, a legend in the UFC, and he barely did it, in very bland fashion, in my opinion. And he got a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, even though there was no jiu-jitsu grappling in the entire fight. Whatever, I'm just gonna move on from that fight because it had to be the most boring one of the night for sure. Next up, we have Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober. Just an absolute walk in the park for Makhachev, who I didn't realize this until now, was trained under Khabib. Super scary dude. I do not want to fuck with him. I think Makhachev has a very good chance to contend for a title, probably starting by next year. He needs to face one of the top dogs, though, before he can get that shot, in my opinion. But yeah, just literally just walked Drew Dober down the street, around the block, took him out to piss, and then brought him back inside. Like, just just like a nuts fight for Makhachev, just to make a name for himself. Statement W. Submitted him in round 3, I think. But yeah, just crazy domination from Makhachev. Next up, I might spend a little too much time on this fight because it was definitely the most controversial of the night. Petr Yan versus Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling. This fight ended in a pretty shitty way for Petr Yan and Sterling. Petr, obviously, because he lost his title throwing that illegal knee, and kind of a bad situation for Funkmaster because people are gonna say that he faked a concussion or whatever just so he could win this fight. That's just absolutely asinine and stupid, in my opinion, because these UFC fighters throw strikes completely different than your average street fight that maybe one or two UFC fans have been in. But dude, there is no fucking way he was going to be able to fight after that. I'm sorry. Like, he had to be stood up as they put the belt around him, and he ripped that shit off like he didn't even want it. I mean, even Aljo was upset with the way that he won that fight. So if you're going to say that he was faking that shit, you really know nothing at all. You were just a fake UFC fan, just an absolute casual. You've never been in a fight in your life, and we're just gonna leave it at that. Sad to see Yan lose his title in such a fashion because I think he was absolutely dominating Aljo this entire fight. And the Funkmaster tweeted out that they're gonna rematch as soon as possible, and I just don't see him beating Petr Yan. Petr Yan was winning like this entire fight. Aljo was completely gassed after the first round, and from then it was all Yan. So to think that they are gonna rematch and Funkmaster can win, I just don't see it. Next, I'm probably gonna spend about maybe less than a minute covering this fight because it was absolutely complete domination. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. The fight lasted 2 minutes, and I don't think Megan Anderson was in control for a single millisecond. Amanda Nunes is my first time watching one of her full fights. This was ridiculous. This was absolutely ridiculous, and I cannot believe that she is this dominant at 2 weight classes. They gotta start putting her against some dudes soon. Like, honestly, she is absurd and great to watch. She is without a doubt the greatest women's fighter of all time, for sure. I wish I could cover more of that fight, but it was just a straight ass whooping, and not really much to write home about. And here's the big fish, Jan Blachowicz versus Adesanya, a fight that I had a lot to say about in my video that I just recorded, but I'm probably gonna break it down a little bit easier. Adesanya just should not be at light heavyweight, in my opinion. He was just getting absolutely bullied on the ground. Jan was just too big for him. This is how we expected the Paulo Costa fight to go, probably. No, I'm just kidding, because Paulo is like a way better striker, supposedly. And damn, man, it's sad to see Adesanya go out like that. But he was extremely humble in the the post-fight interview, so that's good to see. And he said that if he was going to lose to anyone, it should be a guy like Jan, who is extremely prideful in what he does, and not really a big shit talker. And yeah, I agree. If he were to take his first L to John Jones, I probably would have cried myself to sleep. But yeah, it just exposed a lot of things in Adesanya's game. And I don't think there's any shame in that. I just think that he needs to, get better. I think the John Jones fight is 100% off the table because, it's not really a super fight anymore. They're not. Adesanya lost. So, I mean, it just sucks, man. I really wanted to see that fight. But to be honest, man, with the way Adesanya was fighting last night, I think John Jones would have cleaned him up in 2 or 3 rounds. I'm a stay Adesanya fan, obviously, because I'm extremely supportive of what he does, and I think he's still a great striker, one of the best in the UFC, just not at light heavyweight. He needs to stay at middleweight. And damn, man, he's going to be a legend one day, but, this fight is going to hurt. It's gonna hurt his legacy bad, bro. Oh, my gosh, I wanted him to win so bad, but, you win some, you lose some, and these are lessons learned. And I think Adesanya is going to come back a beast, and I think people are going to be counting him out already off of 1 loss. Not really much to say about the rest of the fight. I mean, Jan just dominated on the ground. The striking game was pretty even between them. I didn't really see Adesanya having a big advantage on the feet. But, yeah, I mean, John Jones was tweeting all night about this fight. That was probably the most entertaining part about the entire fight. Just John Jones being the absolute king of pettiness. And at some point, I just have to accept that that's what he is. He's just going to be petty as hell to every single person that they predict he's going to fight. He does it to DC still, like 2 years later, which I think is fucking hilarious. But, yeah, man, all in all, I thought this was a great UFC card. The first one that I watched start to finish. I'm gonna try to break myself away from the casual UFC YouTubers, the type that think Aljamain Sterling was faking a concussion so he could win a title. I'm gonna be the least disgraced UFC YouTuber you've ever seen. And I just want to say thank you if you're not a big UFC fan but still decided to watch this video. That means a lot to me because I know that you're probably bored out of your mind or very confused by the stuff I was saying. But yeah, man, super happy that I watched this card. And make sure you subscribe, like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if I triggered you salty Piotr Jan fans. Yeah, man, I'll see you guys in the next video.